Welcome to a brand new episode of Healed Girl Era, the podcast with me, Gia Peppers. Our next guest is Golden Globe nominated actress, singer, and powerhouse Danielle Brooks. We filmed this conversation right before the strike ended, so before we get into this, I gave her a call to celebrate officially her latest accomplishment, reprising her role as Sophia in The Color Purple and starring in her first studio feature film.
I'm in the car on the way to the airport. Okay, love this. Okay, so we literally, now that the strike is over, we are in full Color Purple mode. Sis, how do you feel right now?
I feel like Oprah says, all things purple are all things divine, baby. And it is time to live in our divine season. Oh,
yes.
It's been crazy, amazing fun. We hit the ground running right away. And I'm just really excited that we actually get to share this with the world now. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm excited. And your girl got hair and makeup now. Let's go.
Ma'am, because you're beat.
We'll get back to more of this convo later. For now, let's get into our conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Healed Girl Era. I am so happy to have you all here, and we are in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was here for the One Music Festival, and there was only one person on my heart that I really wanted to sit down with, and my sister Danielle Brooks is a light. She is a force of kindness and all things good in this world, and because she shows up for who God called her to be, she has been blessing us with performances since Orange is the New Black and before that. And she's been in incredible shows, Tony Award-winning moments, piano lesson, The Color Purple, and so much more. And right now we're going to get into a conversation about how she's doing her life and all of her journey so far. And so y'all, please help me welcome the beautiful, the talented, the future EGOT herself, Danielle Brooks.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, sister.
Hey, girl.
How you doing?
Girl.
Exactly like that.
You know, there's actually an SNL clip of Meg the Stallion go, girl. And they just having a whole conversation.
Right. Girl.
I could do that today. I'm not going to waste your time doing that, but I could.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Because I would understand everyone. I'd be like, ooh, girl.
I think you would.
I would understand everyone. But like, you know, when I think about this show, I think about people who have always understood the responsibility of their platform. And every time I have seen you or interacted with you, we did a beautiful ABFF panel earlier this year, which
you did.
You had.
That's why I'm here, though.
Yeah.
Because of you. Like,
Thank
seriously,
you.
that Gia Peppers, when you hosted the ABFF for the panel for this movie that's coming out. And I remember like being super excited about the panel, but also a little nervous.
Yes.
And so I'm trying this new thing where if you don't really know what to say, you don't have to say anything, but I still had something to share. And I remember you saying like, Dee, remember that thing you were talking about backstage?
And you talked about the first two words of Alice Walker's book when you opened it. I need you to explain what that means to you, what her words mean to you, and how that impacts and reflects in your experience.
Yeah, man. This story, this multiverse means so much to me because this was the first Broadway show I ever saw in 2005, was The Color Purple. And then 10 years later, after many auditions for Broadway, and hearing no after no after no, my first Broadway show was The Color Purple. And I have been in films, but this is my first studio film. So, if you haven't read Alice Walker's book, you need to read it. And the first two words are, Dear God. And I feel like as a people, it's our love letter kind of to God. To say, Dear God, thank you for helping us dance through our trauma. Thank you, God, for pulling us through our pain.
like, oh my gosh, she listened to that. And she found a way to like help me, whether you knew you were helping me or not, like to come out of like hiding, because I was about to just be like, I don't have anything to say anymore. And you were like, no, you had something poignant to say. And I'm just really grateful for that.
Yes.
So.
And that story had a standing ovation. We got to find that clip, okay? Because you are just so amazing. And like, I love that you were honest about that. And I'm grateful that God used us in that moment to be like, help each other.
We so need each other. For that. And having people like you who listen, truly listen to the person, you know, like that's important. A lot of hosts do not. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's a hard job. It's not like easy to do and navigate and remember all the things that the person did and and like it's hard, but you are skilled at what you do.
Thank you, sister. Well, I'm excited to get into this convo because one of my favorite things about you is that like you are so talented, but you are also such a girl's girl.
Oh,
and
thanks.
like I love watching your viral videos with the girls, Tiana. You got Brittany. Shout out to my sister Brittany Inge. Like all the girls love you.
I love them,
and you love them,
which is weird because I don't have any sisters.
Oh,
I just have one brother. But my best friend Tisha Wilson. Shout out to Tisha. That's been my like ride or die since I was 4, and I guess that's where it comes from.
Yes,
I don't know, sisters. Yeah, but I don't have any sisters, so I don't know. I guess it's definitely necessary to have each other, especially in this business.
We gonna get into that. I want to get into that, but I want to start first of all.
Sorry, keep clearing my throat.
Look, tea is life changing. Healing is tea. Okay, now you started acting in the church.
Yes.
At the nativity play.
Yes.
Hallelujah. Bless God. We bless God for that. Because every person I know got their act started something in church, whether it was like singing in the choir. My first public announcements were giving glory to God.
You know, like you're a church girl too.
A church girl, all the way through. So like, you know, I went to an elementary school and a preschool that was all black in DC, and it was called Tots. And Miss Davenport would make us speak like as like grown people from the time we were like 2. And I would be shy.
Go ahead. Yeah. We had something called oratorical contest that we would do as high schoolers. And it was curated by the churches, but basically they were making us little preachers. We would have to come up with our own little sermons. Like they would give us a scripture, and we would have to come up with our own sermons. They were like 5 minutes.
No way.
And then whoever won got the pot. You know, not communion. What's it called? When they pass the pot around,
you get the tithe.
You get the tithing, girl.
You got the
or the offering. You get the offering.
Right, not the tithe.
No,
that's to the Lord in the house
the
of God.
offering.
But you
I got the offering a few times. I got the offering. Yeah.
Do you remember one?
Girl, no.
Okay, because I was about to be like, because if you want to do the rendition.
I don't know. I definitely wrote it down. And I remember, but I do feel like that helped me when it came to like writing speeches and things, because I really actually enjoy that. Because I was talking to another actor, and like, I don't write my own speech. I don't do that. I'm hiring somebody. I was like, you hiring somebody? I wanted to come from me. So I think it definitely came from the church.
Yes, like shout out to like those church things matter.
They truly do.
When you think about the first time you're in front of an audience, it's loving when you're at a church, because we're all like, go, it's all right, baby.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like, it's a good thing to start, I think, in those spaces. But when you think about the nativity play and what that little Danielle thought about being on stage, is that when you knew you wanted to give your call, follow your call of acting?
I think it sparked it. Because the church members were like, going to my mom and like, oh my gosh, she's so good. And I was 6. She's so good. Wow. I was like, I don't know. They keep saying I'm good. And I kept getting in trouble for talking in school all the time. Yeah. Like I would run to my neighbor, Mrs. Simmons' house all the time because I knew I was going to get a whooping. So I'd go to her house first and emotionally eat because she'll give me Oreos.
Period.
No, all about it. I'm just going to go get Oreos and then I'm going to get a whooping. And so my mom kept finding programs for me to be a part of to keep me occupied. And so there was a lot of arts programs in Greenville, thank God for that, arts education, and that just kept me going. And so it really wasn't until going to once I was in high school, I went to Governor's School for Arts. So I went to, let me break it down. Went to a normal high school.
Okay.
And then I went to an arts high school.
Okay. So like freshman year, normal.
Freshman and sophomore.
Okay.
And then junior and senior went to the fancy high school that like Bettina Miller, Nicole Bahari, Tiana Paris.
You've known all of them since high school?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Y'all were all doing like productions together?
Well, no, I'm the baby.
Oh. Not the Don Cheadle.
I'm the baby. Yeah, so we actually weren't in school at the same time. But we all ended up, besides Bettina, who went to Carnegie Mellon, we all went to Juilliard. And we were all 2 years apart. Now we're all tight.
Right.
Like, we were tight then too. But so yeah, I went to that special high school. Mm-hmm. And I auditioned, not even auditioned, they applied for this program that was bringing kids to New York and doing like a mentorship. Because
I know it was Georgia and South Carolina, right?
No.
Wait, just South Carolina.
I was just I was born in Georgia. Everybody thinks like I'm a Georgia girl because I always call IMDb or whatever, Google, whatever. It's always like Georgia.
Yes, that's Georgia first.
I was just born in Georgia. I spent like 2 years in Georgia.
So you don't know nothing.
But now it really messes people up because I live in Georgia now. So
Georgia matters to your story, but it's not where you were formed.
No, South Carolina, baby. 864.
Period.
Like, period, you know.
So you're going to a special program.
Went to the special program. They took me and a parent, because I got us accepted, to New York.
Wow.
So we did this. It was like diversity. They were teaching us how to make our own videos, whatever.
Like
we did this thing. No, like to make our own like short films. Girl, if you see my short film that I made, it is so churchy.
I want to see. Now you got to send it to me. I want to see
it. It's on a DVD, and it's so like, the people that came before me, like Cicely Tyson and Viola Davis. And it was in rhyme too, so I don't have the rhyme, but it was like I had it like it was amazing. I love it. But very cheesy.
You was deep though.
I was deep.
You was deeper than the ocean.
But thinking, at the time, because you go to this little high school and they teaching me like IPA, which is International Phonetic Alphabet. So they're teaching me like how to speak standard American. So this is the time, when I'm like 15 years old and my people and growing up are like, you're talking white, because I'm learning this new skill, and they're like, you're an Oreo, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm learning this new skill. Period. So get over it. And so it's funny watching that video because you hear me trying to speak but I really like that Southern just laying into there. But yeah, so we did that, and that's when my father took us on our downtime to see my first Broadway show because he knew I loved the theater. And then that first Broadway show was The Color Purple. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what really got me like, oh, yeah, I got to do this.
And that's the full circle moment we were talking about at that panel, which your life has so many full circle moments.
So many. It's weird. I'm grateful for it, though. It keeps life, like, exciting, but, like, it's crazy because you think life is supposed to go a certain way or a path that you want it to go. And you don't understand the no's all of the time until God reveals them for me in full circle moments. And you're like, oh. So that's why I'm really trying to trust God in those moments where I still haven't had that reveal, where I'm still like, I do not understand what you're doing. You are really challenging my life right now. Yep. And I'm just like, well, he showed it before. He revealed it before. Know that he will reveal in due time.
Same God.
Same God.
Same God that got you from The Color Purple in the audience with your family to the stage play.
Yeah, and later to other things. Mm-hmm.
So
it's crazy. It's insane.
Like it's just amazing. Like if you really sit back and look at that.
Yeah. Especially at 15, you're like, you don't know where life's going. I didn't know they were going to do a revival of this play 10 years later. Like I'm not thinking about that.
Yes.
And especially when you even reverse it, it's like I didn't know that. That's why God sent me to do that program. wasn't about learning no short film. It was about this connection. You know, I needed that link. You know,
and that spark.
That's what I needed.
Do you remember who was playing?
Oh yeah, of course.
Who was playing Sophia?
Oh, Sophia.
Yeah.
Felicia P. Fields. Oh. Felicia, she's from Chicago. Felicia P. Fields, and Renee Goldsberry was in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Which she ended up beating me out in the Tonys that year, which I think is pretty still full circle. Because
either way, it's like you're in the category.
In the category, but at the same time, like, this is the person that I saw when I was 15. Exactly. Of course, go ahead, girl, get your award. Yeah, like,
I'll get the next time.
Yeah, get the next time.
When you and then we gotta talk about Juilliard.
Okay.
Because literally the dream for so many people, and you not only got accepted, you studied there, you had friends, classmates and peers that went on to work with you on projects. What was it like? Do you remember when you got the acceptance letter to Juilliard? Were you like, no one talked to me because you were at an art school? Like, were you like, did you go to Juilliard? I'm just playing. That's why I didn't get to go, because I would have been like that.
No, to be honest, I didn't know what Juilliard was until going to that high school, and the black girls were getting in. That was really what it was. Nicole, Tiana, and another girl, Stacy Scott, were getting in there. So I didn't know what it was. Yeah. But I do know the kids that like had the poster in their room, like, because we lived on campus. Yes. So it was a mini Juilliard.
Wow. Oh, so you were prepared.
Oh yeah, like we was laying that foundation.
Wow.
I didn't know about this school until all the black girls were getting in. So I applied at 17. You go through this whole audition process in New York. At the time, they were doing this thing called the Final 40. So out of all the auditions in Chicago, LA, and New York, and then all of the sent-in tapes, they only brought 40 back.
Wow.
So we did that. It was a snowstorm, because it was a 2-day thing.
Wow.
In New York. It was a snowstorm on the final callback.
Very New York.
So I missed the whole first day. And I was so nervous and terrified, like, Lord, I hope this doesn't mess up my chance.
Yeah.
And so I come in the next day, and I was like, I got to make an impression. So I remember, they have, like, they split us in groups of 2. So 20 in one group was in my group, and they were like, we want you all to stand up, say who you are. And I was like, hey, y'all, my name is Peaches, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. And I was like, okay, I'm just kidding, I'm Danielle. And I did that so that they would remember me. I was like, y'all are not going to forget me. I came all the way from the Peaches girl. Do you know my first year of Juilliard?
They called you Peaches.
They called me Peaches. For the whole year. And I had to finally be like, y'all got to stop calling me Peaches, man.
Because I am not her.
Danielle Brooks.
Danielle Brooks. I speak IPA. I have no peaches.
Not at all.
Put me in your roles. Don't do that to me. No, I understand. Like, it's wild that you went to Peaches, because I swear, in like the late 2000s, it was like everybody was a Peach. Like, that was just...
That's probably why I did it.
Like, Peaches, you mean Peaches? Like, we all know who Peaches is.
Yeah.
I actually have an auntie Peaches. Shout out to you, Auntie Peaches. But she don't act like that. Like, she from DC, but she ain't like, she don't do that. Okay, so you get to Juilliard, you get in productions, you are...
Get into productions, but was not, like, given leading lady roles.
Okay.
At all.
Okay, so when we think, so supporting roles or like...
Supporting roles, playing aunties, playing best friend, playing soldier number 2, playing witch number 3, until I finally got to we're about to go into 4th year, senior year, and I go to the faculty and I say, I can't do this. So y'all got to change something, please, because I cannot leave this program not knowing what it's like to be a leading lady. Wow. That would be robbery. And so they did something about it. We ended up doing Raisin in the Sun, and I played Ruth. And then we did, me and Corey Hawkins, shout out to my homie, we watched
DC's
DC. We watched it the other day. We were kind of slaying, dog. Like,
kind of.
He played Walter Lee. We were hella Melodramatic, which is a dramatic play.
Yes.
But, like, we kind of slayed it.
It's giving, it's probably going to come back around.
Like, oh, gosh.
Full circle with the way your life is set up.
I didn't even think about that.
It's going to be you and Corey.
Did not even think about that.
Don't
and
worry.
Jakina Calicango's in that, too.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we did that, and then we did Clybourne Park, and so I was able to be leads in that, and I'm so grateful for that moment.
Yeah.
And speaking up and learning how to advocate for
I was gonna
myself.
say, like, it takes a lot to be able to say, I spoke up for myself. I said absolutely not. And sometimes those little things that we decide, like, can you imagine if you were too scared and you let fear stop you, what your life would look like?
Yeah, and at the time I was 21, so, you know, you have people that are telling you how to speak, how to move, and how to talk, and everything, every aspect of who you are. You know, it can be scary to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
But I had done the research, like, no lie, I wrote down everything that, like, the patterns that I saw within the students.
Wow.
Like, and I was like, I see a pattern here, and y'all aren't going to do it to me as a black girl. Like, you know what I mean?
You was doing research.
Yeah, because I needed to back it up. I felt like I didn't want people to just blow me off and be like, oh, it's all in your mind. I was like, no. 2 years ago, Taystee did this, and then 2 years ago, you did the same thing to the other black girl, and then it's like I was really calculating.
Were they stunned? Were they receptive?
They were receptive because they ended up, you know,
Helping
me out and giving me the parts that made me feel like a leading lady and got to, you know, step into that. So I do feel like they did hear me.
And just for any girl, because I can only imagine how many people are afraid to go to their boss or afraid to go even to their husband and be like, I need you to see me. For anyone struggling with that, what would you say? And even based off of what you experienced about how to advocate for yourself, and any tips or just anything that comes to your heart about how to
advocate,
take up your space.
I think it's pretty simple. You get one life, and even if that's too deep, sometimes you get one chance at things. And it doesn't, technically the path is going to lead you where it's supposed to lead you regardless. So if you feel that you're going to lose something, maybe you were supposed to lose that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
And I feel like that's what I think in my mind is like, it is a way to do things, so let's start there. Make sure that you're doing it in order, like you're doing it in a way that is respectful or, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But do it. Like you have to. And if it leaves you, you might be saying thank God later on, you know, but hopefully, you know, by you doing that, you do receive the thing that you wanted or needed, you know, or it'll push you in the direction that you need to be going.
I love that. See, because it's all planned, but there's this idea that faith without works is dead, and we know that to be true. Everybody knows that to be true, hopefully, by this point if you're a believer. But the work part is the hardest part. And so I just applaud that 21-year-old version of you.
You know what's interesting? I feel like the work part is the easier part for me.
Really?
I think so. I'll put in the work. I will put in the work. It's the faith that tripped me up not too long ago. Girl,
Tell it.
Gia, I thought I had faith, girl. I thought, you know how they say, have faith the size of mustard. I was like, I got big faith. I got watermelon faith. Down.
The tree done grown up.
Girl, no, I did not. I had put in the work on something that there was no denying that it was for me. There was no denying. And it was clearly not for me, and it totally shook my world. And I realized, I had crazy hope. I had hope, like this optimism that, I can get the thing. I can work for the thing. But I didn't have faith. And what I realized in that moment, faith is realizing that whether the pendulum swings in your way or it doesn't, you will be okay. and I did not feel like I was going to be okay. I thought my world was crumbling. And it was so hard to accept that. My faith was so low, to understand, like, how do I regain that? Because my faith was no longer a mustard seed. It damn near was a piece of lint. It was like,
come on,
gone,
a crumb.
a
Yes.
crumb,
Yes.
like a crumb of a crumb, you know? And I feel like it came with devotion, talking to God, for people that are spiritual, talking to God, getting my tribe, talking to my tribe. I called Tiana, I called Nicole, I called Corey. For perspective, you know, even though I have to really lean on my own and lean on him. And then time.
Yes.
Time, because I felt like that was another moment of like, I do not understand the why. I don't get it. I do not understand it, but I know in due time you will reveal it. And that's where the time comes in. It still ain't been revealed.
Yeah. I mean, we will never know the amount of times that you have had to be like, all right, Lord, you playing games, you know, I know you don't play, but this feel like crazy. I mean, for me, I've had many moments where like my career has felt stagnant, shattered, like dreams that I was like, oh, okay, like this is it. This is the big moment.
Yeah.
They're gonna know my name. Everyone's like, it's gonna be a thing. This is why I've worked so hard. This is the moment, and then it doesn't happen. And my faith was shattered as well. Like I would be in my room, quite literally pacing, like squaring up with God. Like, now come down here because I got
beef with
talk
you.
To you. I just want to talk.
Yeah.
And it was,
I just want to talk.
I just want to talk.
I ain't
like,
gonna throw no hands.
you know, it is what it is. Like, no, you could just call a little wave and knock me right out. So I'm not crazy, but I need to talk to you. And I remember literally pacing to the point where like my carpet had like a line, like those little lines in it. And I was like, I am so angry at you because I have been doing this the way that you said. You said, don't be out here acting crazy. You said, respect people. You said, be nice. Every morning I share a Bible verse. Yeah. I try to help.
I'm doing the things.
I do the things.
The work.
There's a lot of people out here who's anti you that are moving faster and move forward and getting these things. What's up? And like there was a moment where I had to be like, I'm angry and I had to sit in it. But what ended up helping me was, like you said, staying in my devotionals, staying in prayer, going to church even though I wasn't connecting yet. Like I was like, I'm here. I know I'm supposed to be here. You do the motions. Hallelujah. Like some point I was like, oh, I didn't really mean that. Like I'm saying it because it's a reaction, but it's not really what I mean. And it took like you said, time, friendship, and then finally like surrender to it.
Surrendering. And also, which I have tattooed. Anyway, but also, what you're making me think about is evaluating.
Come on.
What is it that we're really chasing? What is it that we're really wanting? And why? That's the big part, is the why.
When I broke that down, I was like, I don't feel seen. And I wanted to be seen. But by whom and by what? And why does that matter more than what I feel about myself? And then I had to go back and be like, wait, what do I feel about myself? Like it started that anger, that moment with God
makes you feel like you are, I guess, disposable in a way too. Of like, what are you doing if you aren't being seen? Like, who are you? Like, you're basically a piece of trash if you aren't that person. Like, you're not special enough.
If you don't post it, it never happened. If they don't like it or comment, it's not lit. If it's like,
why are we living in that space? I think it's too much noise.
It's way too much noise.
In our ears, in our faces, in our spirits. It's like, how can we quiet that, you know?
Yep.
And get down to what's important. And that's what we were talking about off camera a little bit, about the personal. You were talking about how like you wanted to start having your personal life. And I think that's like really helpful. Even though personal life can be cray too.
Right.
But it's my back hurting. Speaking
of.
And I ain't got no nanny, but whatever. We gonna find it. We gonna work it out. But I think that's what it's about. It's like getting back to that.
To
you, who you are, and like what makes you happy, and get out of like what society is telling us we're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Because when we really evaluate, we are.
When you really look back,
we are.
And the thing is, like, even as angry as I would get, I would still always come back to this version of me, the person that's like, but I'm still not giving up. I needed a month. I needed a second to be angry. I needed a second to be sad. I needed a second to disconnect. I'm not posting. Don't ask about it. I will respond. I'm a horrible texter. But especially when I'm going through my things, my friends know.
She ain't gonna say nothing.
She'll be back. Give her a minute. It's very me. But I'm like, I really have to sit with this feeling and then let it go. Because it doesn't, just because it's here doesn't mean it's real. Feelings are crazy, or they change all the time. But I've learned to be like, you know what? Let me be in it. Because whatever it is, I probably need to learn and take something from this moment. Like, there's got to be, there's a reason, there's a flicker, there's something in here that's like, pay attention to this because this triggers you. So let's find out.
And Jay Evan listened to so much Jay Shetty.
Come on, Jay Shetty's podcast.
Like that guy so much, but that's the only way we're really going to move to the next level is by going through. Like, you need both. You can't just live in a place of like celebration and I wins all the time. Like,
it's not real.
You can't. It's not, and it won't really get you to the next level. It's like if I gave my daughter cake every day.
Woo.
She would not appreciate the cake on her birthday.
And she would be sick.
Like, she
would get sick.
Ooh, that's deep.
Like, if we really think about the people who have been on...
Girl. But this reminds me of what you're saying about, like, when you start that comparing bullshit. Can you cuss on?
Yes, I can.
When you start that comparing stuff, you don't know. Because when you talking about like, well, God, I serve you. I do all the things you tell me to do, and this person don't do nothing. They just winning. You don't know what their medical condition is. And you don't know.
And the crazy part.
They could be sick.
They could be sick. That's
chasing
a life that you don't even know the fullness of is insane. And I had to learn that for myself because social media is a trick. Like, quite literally, it is to trick you into believing 10% of a person's life is all that they are. And it didn't start that way. It wasn't not that way when we was like asking to be on Instagram and we was posting our food and a Christmas tree, and it was so filtered that you could barely make out what you were posting anyway. Like, shout out to everybody that came up in that era. You know, all this new stuff. Y'all knew y'all got DSLRs for every photo. Girl, please. Girl. We had flip phones we were posting from at one point. But anyway, I'll say this. I have, whenever I feel like the comparison envy thing coming, I'll be like, ooh, I don't know what they sacrificed to get that. And life is hard enough.
And you don't know what's on the other side of that. Like,
and also, I don't want anything that's not for me. And my life is hard enough. I don't really need nobody else's problems. My problems are big enough and small enough and enough for me to handle. And so I've learned to do that. But social media is tricky where, like, if you scroll for too long, you will be like, wow, I haven't done enough. I'm overweight.
No, seriously.
My hair is ugly. My face, I don't know how to do makeup right. Like, all the things.
All the things. I need better jeans.
I'm shopping. Now I'm buying things.
Now I'm broke. Now I'm mad I don't have a job because we're on strike. Yeah. Literally. All the things.
So we talked a little bit about rejection. You spoke about it from the Jay Shetty podcast. And I don't think we talk enough about the trauma that can come from being rejected over and over. But then also the building up of your person that happens after time.
Girl, another Jay Shetty. He was just talking. I watch him like,
because I don't even watch his podcast like that.
You got to get into him.
But I feel like I'm gonna say everything he said because I'm already saying everything he's saying. I feel like I'm just gonna be like, they're gonna be like, Gia, copy over Jay.
No, it's no copy. It is sharing this important information.
You're right.
This
Let me gather
information
myself.
because everybody on his don't watch you, and vice versa. Like
Period.
no, like the sister's watching you,
Yes.
and that's who need it. That's what you know.
That's why we here.
So he was talking about the rejection thing, and when you rejected from something that you don't really care about too much, you can become bitter. But when you reject it for something that you really care about and want, you become better. And I just love that because I think that's true. It's like, yeah, you get upset, but like when you love something, and that's how I feel about my career.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we experience. You as well. In this daily, sometimes no. We can count so many times we've heard no. We probably can't count how many times we've heard no's, but we continue to strive to be better because that's how we care about it, and that's pushing us into our greatness. So rejection has its purpose, even though it sucks and it's like painful and it feels like contractions and period cramps and like I don't know where I'm going with this, but like
all the things, pain.
It's painful. It's necessary, you know? Yeah, it's necessary.
Has there been a rejection in your life that you were like, ooh, I don't think I can recover from this?
Yeah, the one I was just talking about that I can't really talk about yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just the top of this year, being rejected. But even outside of that, I think, let me think. That one's just the most heaviest one.
The recent one.
But, I mean, one that's fun to talk about now was, sorry, I'm laughing.
I love it.
I ain't even telling the story yet. So I had auditioned for a ton of Broadway shows before getting Color Purple on Broadway. And so I had auditioned for this play, Pippin, which I was really excited about. Patina Miller had starred in it. Wow. And, like, I'm no Patina Miller, but I was like, maybe they're remixing it. You know, like, they got a new vision.
Period.
Yeah,
you never know.
You never know. I mean, Chicago. Like, they be changing girls out left and right.
All types of girls.
All kinds. But anyway, so I was excited. I had gotten, like, callback after callback. And was getting to the final. And so I get to the final, but they told me that it was a director's session. So I'm thinking it's just gonna be me, the director, maybe, you know, a composer, not composer, but a musician to go over the music. We're gonna work this thing out. Girl, do you know that room was full of suits? It was like 30 people in that room.
30 people?
It was, yes, stacked. It was like the final.
Wow.
I had no idea. It threw me all the way off after like getting 6 callbacks in or something like that. And I blanked on everything. I was going sharp on all the songs. Couldn't remember the songs. Tried to play everything off with laughter, and that was just like failing. It was just like, Sandman, come get my ass. Sandman, come get my ass. I'm calling the Sandman. Hey, I'm over here.
Yo, there's nothing like bombing. When you're like, well, I still got 20 minutes left.
Oh, I was bombing. So I left. I just walked out of that room. I said, thank y'all for the opportunity, but I would never want y'all to measure my talent off of this moment. So I walked out. I rejected myself. I left and cried. And that was really hard for me. But it made me better because right when I went through that, I put myself right into singing classes and dance classes because it was like, I don't want to experience that. And I also was like, okay, well, what do I also need to prepare for these auditions? And so in one of my, this is a weird fact about me, when one of my sessions with the vocal coach, we were talking spiritually, which I love, and we were talking about being covered in the blood.
Come on.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take that literally. So I literally would wear and wore red underwear for that audition for Color Purple, which was my next audition after that fail. Wow. Which was a few months later. Wow. And so I wore them because I needed to feel like covered by God. Like, somebody's with me. I'm not in this alone. And so I did the work to get better. And, you know, I went in there and I ended up getting the Broadway show. Yeah.
Literally. So it wasn't a fail.
No.
It was the step to get to the next thing that would literally change your life. Like, literally change your life. When you, first of all, amen to the covered in blood. However that works for you.
It worked for me.
It worked for you.
And that's what I do. So, like, if I do, like, Broadway show or the piano lesson, the first preview opening, I got red drawers on.
I love this show. We learned so much. That's amazing. Period.
They ain't no thongs.
But no, you got, look, everybody got a little red.
It's something.
Somebody, but that's what makes you feel safe, and I think that's important. That makes you feel covered. Period. Look, however you get it, but I love that is the thing. But we got to go to the Orange is the New Black of it all, because that's when I first found out how amazing you were, and I think the world first found out how talented you are. What did that level of notoriety feel like for you, and how did it affect, like, Danielle, not Taystee?
Ooh,
Danielle.
Experiencing my first notoriety was a lot. It was a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Because the show that I was on came out in 13 hours, like the whole entire show. So it wasn't like back in the day where you watch it one episode a week. No, you watch the whole thing. So people immediately were obsessed with us, and our lives changed in 13 hours. And I remember stepping out of my Harlem apartment, getting on the bus, and people started, like, screaming the character's name, and I was just like, I gotta get off this bus. Oh my God, what is happening? I'm by myself.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Like, what happened?
Subway, same thing. People would, you know, make a big deal, and then they're off the subway. I'm still on here, and I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
And so I ended up going to therapy. To figure it out.
That's amazing.
And luckily with that show, a lot of us were on different wavelengths in our career. So I was able to lean on some of those women and say, hey, like, this is hard to navigate. I don't understand how to navigate fame. And I had some failing moments, you know, where ego plays a part and you start smelling yourself a little bit and, you know, feeling like, why do they get that and I don't get that? And then the Emmys came around and felt like one of the only girls that weren't nominated for an Emmy that first year, second year, third year, you know, and just not understanding why. And so instead of becoming bitter, which I did have those moments
yeah.
and definitely, I didn't feel like quitting though.
Yeah.
I did have moments where I felt like wanting to quit, but I didn't feel like quitting. I just wanted to get better because I think for me, coming from the small town of South Carolina, yeah, I went to the governor's school, this fancy high school, but they taught me acting. They didn't prepare me for the business. They did not prepare me for Hollywood.
Come on.
That's the same for Juilliard. They did not prepare me to how to audition. They did not prepare me for that. They did not prepare me for the real world. So I'm like, how do I navigate this? I don't understand. And then you realize it's all unfair. None of it's going to be fair. However the chips fall is how it falls. You just never know.
Yeah.
So I realized I just got to, like, go on the path, trust the universe, you know, don't be chasing stuff too hard.
Yes.
If it's for you, it will
only
not
for
miss you. You gonna be all right.
Yes. This doesn't prepare you for the business is quite literally what I know to be true. And there's no blueprint, because it not only does the business change like every 10 years, our time coming up changed because of digital, social, all the different ways that you had to be on. Like, when I came up in J school, they was like, just interview. You're gonna have to move to a small town, and you're gonna have to one-man band it, and then you'll eventually, in 27,000 years, maybe make it to a major market. And I was like, first of all, I went to school right outside. I went to school in Jersey. I was already interning in New York. I was like, I'm not moving. I'm already here in the #1 market. I'm gonna figure it out. Now, I took the long way because I didn't do that, and I took the way that was more like I had to just figure it out, literally freelancing and just figuring it out. But I knew I wasn't gonna give up. And I love that you said, like, I'm not giving up. At the end of the day, you can't tell me that my gifting, my anointing isn't going to keep me here. And so I'm glad that you dealt with the fame, and I'm glad that you got therapy, because a lot of people didn't, especially then, we didn't really understand the importance of it, and we weren't talking about it as much. But do you remember from that time, what was the biggest takeaway from like your first iteration of therapy that you learned about yourself?
I wanted a black therapist.
Oh, so you had a white person.
I did. I mean, because I actually started at Juilliard. I went through like a bad breakup, and then I found out like they had a therapy person there.
I love it.
And so I went to this white guy, super sweet, but like when you started to explain, like, I got whoopings and stuff, and they're like, you were beat when you were a child. You were going through trauma, which some people did go through trauma, but mine probably were warranted, and that's how my parents dealt with it. I turned out fine.
Right.
You know, so for me, I was like, I need someone that understands what that is for me. Like, I don't consider myself abused.
Yeah.
I think I was disciplined. So I let that go.
Yeah. And found you a black.
I did.
therapist.
And I found someone that actually pretty much knows the business really, really well.
Yeah.
And so that's been really cool too, to like have somebody that I don't have to like explain what this is. They know it firsthand.
I love that.
So that's been really good.
And now, when you think about like your stage and your on-screen, on TV process, I'm sure it's two different things, because on stage every night, you can't be like, cut, I have to do this again, I have to do that again. What's the difference
I wish.
in preparing for stage and screen?
Oh, there's so many differences. There's so many similarities. I'll start with similarities. For me, I think it's all about telling the truth, being honest within the character, listening, responding, honestly, doing the work, like doing the work on the character.
Yeah.
As far as the differences, I mean, it's so many. From when you have a camera, yes, my nails broke. When you have a camera, period, is what it is, this close to your face, you know, and you still have to emote a certain feeling, and then you play the same character, and now people can't even see you in the nosebleed, and you have to find a way to emote a certain feeling. Like, for me, with theater, I always go up into the balconies and to see what they can see. And I was like, you can't even see me. So I got to use my voice.
Yes.
Like, I have to like let people know how I'm feeling through my body. But then when you get a camera, yes, my nose broke, this close, it's different. The intimacy is different. Like, so I just love like switching mediums. I love. I'll never forget when I was in that show. I can't really talk about them, but the first show, and the director, Michael, told me, I want you to go bigger. I want you to get on the table and go bigger. I was like, you want me to literally get on the table and go bigger? And mind you, I'm just out of school.
Right.
So everything I've been told about TV and film is small.
Yes.
He was like, no, I want you to be big. And I was like, oh, wow. So it truly is about being honest within the character. If the character's big, just be big. If the character's small, like scale it back. Like, so there's a lot of different things.
I love that answer. I think, and I really loved when you said, I think about the people in the nosebleeds.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember where you sat when you first saw The Color Purple?
In the nosebleeds,
So
but
do
like
you-
the front nosebleed part.
Do you ever think about like acting to her.
Oh,
the
yeah.
little Danielle.
That's the only thing that got me through the piano lesson.
Which we don't even have time to. We don't have to do a part 2 because we gotta unpack the piano lesson because y'all, she auditioned for Juilliard with the piano lesson.
Yeah.
So again, another full circle moment, which is why I'm like, I know that you are fighting through some things right now, but baby, whatever this full circle is about to be for you is got to be so big.
Thank you.
Like every time you make a step, God's like, I got you.
I got you.
Every single time. So I've been in the space where I've had to have someone literally sit in my face and be like, I don't care what you're going through, don't give up. So this is my time telling you, I don't care what you're going through, don't give up.
No,
because if you got the piano lesson and the color purple and all these things, imagine what's coming on the other side of this.
Girl,
it's gonna be big. We just gonna faith it.
Thank you.
In the meantime, okay. So one of the last questions that I have for you is, the grace and plans of God are revealed in our creative lives on a more frequent basis because we're always risking. We're always going in front of people. We don't really have a 9 to 5. We don't really have someone being like, every day you got to do these 7 tasks and this is what it is. We are always going in front of people to prove our value and prove our worth. Even if we know it in ourselves, we are always saying, hey, what about me? When I think about it, it's wild to think about how many people already had us in mind for things that we didn't even think about. Can you tell me a time that God absolutely blew your mind because you were on someone else's mind and you had no idea that they even knew you existed?
That's a big one. Ooh.
That's a hard question.
That's a hard question, but I think I might. What
No,
you say?
I did my research. I was going to say, you say
you
it.
say?
Because didn't the director from your superhero show?
Oh, yeah, James Gunn. Yes, James Gunn. Oh, yeah. He's very special. He did see me in that first show and watched that show and then hired me for his show. But what I would say is Mahalia.
Woo.
Because I was working really hard to get that done through studio, had a great director attached to it, and it just fell through. It fell through, and I didn't know at the time, Kenny Leon, who's also a phenomenal director, one of my favorites, he had me in mind to play for Mahalia because, I mean, they're at the time, shoot, there were about 4 or 5 different Mahalias, like, coming out the woodworks, But he had me in mind for that one, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to let ego, that's a big one, ego, man. I said, I ain't going to let ego get in the way of this, man. I feel like her story needs to be told. I'm not going to not let it happen and not let me be the vessel because I'm waiting on some big network and studio to pick it up or studio to pick it up. So I let that go and listened to the spirit and ended up going with the Kenny one. And then we ended up even getting Emmy nominated for that. And people were really moved by that movie. And it was cool because I was able to have such a say.
Yes.
And I produced things before, but Kenny really gave me a voice. And when you talk about where we talked about being a leading lady, that was truly my first time feeling like one. And he really, I felt like whether he knew it or not, mentored me into that. He'd be like, so what would you want? You the leader lady. You tell me. He just was bossing me up. He was like, yeah, you need to know how to take space. I was like, thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna take space. I ain't doing another take. I ain't doing this. No, I'm just kidding. But that was I would say that would be it.
And so you said ego. Is that the hardest lesson that has been to unlearn or to learn how to navigate with?
I wouldn't say the hardest. It's been one that I think I've passed the test. I feel like it's the one that I know can trip people up the most, and I've seen it trip people up the most. And when sometimes I've seen it, what I think help people, You know, there's been moments where I've seen people be some real divas, and I get what they want. And I'm like, oh, is that how you're supposed to be? That's not how I'm supposed to be.
Hello?
That's not who God made me to be.
It's this weird thin line between having ego and taking up space. And like Jay-Z said it a lot, where he'll be like, sometimes you need your ego to like remind these people. And I do think that sometimes we are so humble that we don't recognize or walk in the power of who we are. And so I think towing that line of like having confidence and not letting it turn into a big ego is like really important. And so I love that you said that.
I think that's been it for me. One of the hardest is like navigating the humbleness, because I think the way I was taught, and maybe you were too with the Christianity growing up in the church thing, is that you really got to remove that. You need to be humble. Everything you do, it ain't from you.
It's from the Lord.
Which it is, but like you can't take no credit for it. Like somebody praise you, so what? Like that's really how I was kind of raised.
That's how I was raised
and
too.
So it really, when you come into this industry, that does not serve you.
It doesn't serve you.
You got to learn how to use it as confidence and not cockiness and not ego, but like you do need to stand in your power. And I think that's a way of knowing like serving God too, is like letting people know like God lives within me, and a part of that is me holding my head up high. And when someone does say you did a great job, saying thank you, and that's it.
Yep.
Not, oh, that's because no, that wasn't me, that was just, oh no, the cast was wonderful, no, thank you. So I'm learning to do that more.
I think you did. I think you're doing it. And on The View, we were talking about this. This is the last question because I know you got to go pick up baby girl. But The View, you were on with Whoopi Goldberg. Can I just say, I watched it and Whoopi was looking at you with such pride. Have you ever rewatched it?
Not recently, no.
Okay, I'm going to show you because you need to see it.
Such an admiration for you. So it's so good to be here with you. And I wish I could just be like, hey, Miss Whoopi, what's up? But I'm just so nervous.
You should know that, your work is magnificent.
She looked at you like, not only were you her daughter, like she even said, I think I had a little part in and I know how much she means to you in your career, but you said that you finally are owning your voice and your space and the anointing on your life. There's a lot of us out here who are having trouble owning that. So what would you say to anyone who's like, I think I get it, but I'm not there yet. I don't believe. I have doubts. I don't think God really called me yet. What would you say to them about taking up their space and owning their anointing on their lives?
I feel like when it's time, you gonna own it. You gonna own it. There might be moments where you still don't, but there's lessons in it. There's a reason why. Like, just keep trying. Like, I remember my daughter yesterday in the car, or today, it's frustrated. I can't get it. I said, keep trying. You gotta keep trying. And I would say the same thing, keep trying. You might not get it the first time. There's gonna come a moment when you're gonna live in it and you're gonna know it. But that comes with time. So yeah, give yourself time and keep trying.
Well, speaking of keeping trying, I just love that you always keep trying. You keep showing up for us. And I wanted to give you a little token of our appreciation because we love you so much.
Thanks,
Raven.
Thank you,
We just
Raven.
love you so
Thank you.
much. And thank you so much for being here today. And however this craziness turns out, which, do you want to speak to anything about this moment and what it means?
No.
We
With
good.
the strike.
Yeah.
No.
Period. Get these people back to work. Thank you. But I will say, you have...
I think enough people talking about it.
Hello. But you deserve all the flowers.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful that you exist. I remember the first time seeing you on screen, and every single time since, you have taken up the space with such specialness, such poise, and such a knowing of your craft. You are great at what you do. You are anointed to do what you do. And not even just this. You anointed to take up space in other space. I already see it for you. It gives talk show. It gives EGOT. It gives all the things.
I receive.
I'm
And the
just proud of
same
you.
for you.
Thank you,
Like,
sis.
what you're doing is super special.
Thank you.
I hope that you know that there's only one lane that anybody can go in, and that's you.
Period.
Gia Pepper is supposed to be in that one particular lane.
Look,
it ain't gonna look like everybody's lane.
It ain't gonna.
It's gonna be rocky roads. It's gonna be hills that you go down like a little girl with your feet held up on your bike, where you just jollied in the mud.
Yes.
Like, it's gonna be amazing parts of it, but
Yeah.
can't nobody take that road but you.
Period.
But I tell you one thing, there's gonna be some young women that can look back at that road and say, or forward at that road and say, oh wow. I think I can take that. Maybe I can forge my own, because she did it. That's what I'm excited for.
Okay,
I'm excited for that.
No, we didn't cry. We did so good. I'm not going to cry. But I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for being a guest on Healed Girl. Y'all follow Danielle Brooks, as you know. If you're not already, I don't know why you even, I'm just playing. You need to follow my sis. Congratulations on everything that is coming. And it's coming in the future.
Amen. To you too.
And we'll see you soon. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Obviously, so much has happened for my good sis Danielle since we recorded this conversation, but I still wanted to share it with the world because I think it shows how powerful it is to wait for God's full circle moments to materialize in our lives. And so, like I said in the beginning of the interview, I'm gonna let y'all hear more of our Zoom combo that we did after the strike ended, because Danielle has some more powerful thoughts, so check it out. And thank you for watching.
I saw it for the first time when I was 15 in 2005. And, that rocked my world, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's a path. There's a way I can do this. I can get to the theater. Like, I can make this a profession. And then, studied, went to Juilliard, and had a lot of no's, auditioning for off-Broadway and Broadway shows. And I remember, funny that I had booked Orange is the New Black, finally got my first TV gig. And I did that gig, and I was sitting at home.
Yes.
And I remember the announcement. They were like, we're having Cynthia and Jennifer be in the revival of The Color Purple. It was on the news or something. And I sat there.
Yes.
Eating whatever food I was eating. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see who they cast in this. Not thinking that it could be a possibility for me because I was working. And it was. And, I think that's what you find out is like God orchestrates your life in a certain way because he knows what he is doing. And so that's what that was. 10 years later, starred in The Color Purple. And, now in the movie version, the reimagined movie version, and this is my first studio film. I've done a lot of independent films, really great ones, but this is my first studio film. So it's very much full circle, and like one of those things that's like, just trust the process. Know that whatever your path is supposed to be, it will fall into place the way it's supposed to. And I know that I'm a living testament of that.
But last thing I want to ask you before we go is, what parts of Danielle got healed or amplified playing Sophia?
My strength. A lot of people don't realize, because when you are being strong, they think you just are that. And I faked it till I made it, honey, literally. And so playing her every night, and especially on Broadway, really amplified, like, you have to start walking in that and not being afraid of the strength and power that you hold within yourself. And so, with, years later, I feel like I've come back to this character, and I am truly embodying that and know what that is now. And am able to receive all of the love that I feel from people that watch my work. I wasn't before. I truly had imposter syndrome and did not know how to accept all this love. But now I do. And I know who I am, and I know the strength that I hold within myself, the power that I hold, and I'm not afraid of that anymore. So that's exciting, the growth that Sophia has given me.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Thank
Well,
you,
sis,
Gia.
congratulations. I love
Thank
you so much. Y'all check out this full
Thank
episode of
Purple.
Healed Girl Era, and make sure you see The Color Purple. Danielle Brooks is in it as Sophia whenever you can, but Christmas Day, take your family to the theaters, because that's what we're doing.
Yes.
Thank
Love
you,
you,
sis.
girl.